Hi everyone, my name is Zach Farmer and welcome to Sporting Dreams. My goal is to inspire the next generation of heroes around the world. Here, I plan to ask the burning questions that all sporting kids want the answer to. I will be interviewing people who have had success in their life and are willing to pass their knowledge down to the next generation. Today's mentor is going to be with a young kid who was born in Townsville, Queensland, Australia. After becoming Duxville High School and beginning a pre-medicine college course, she took up volleyball and has never looked back. She has represented Australia at the Olympic Games in beach volleyball, a record-breaking 5 times, including a gold medal at the Sydney Olympics in 2000. Please welcome to Sporting Dreams, Natalie Cook.
Woohoo, Zach! That needs a round of applause. You need that special music going off in the background.
Yeah.
That's a great introduction. Thank you.
That's all right. So, in high school, you were known to be an all-round amazing athlete. What other sports were you good at, and what made you choose beach volleyball?
Well, I was very lucky. My mum was a swimming teacher, so she started me young in the pool, and I was representing Queensland when I was 8.
Wow.
So I was a breaststroker. I love swimming. I'd go training twice a day. Even as a young kid, from the age of 8 through to about 14, I was a swimmer. And my dad was a semi-professional. I say semi because it was back in the 1960s, a long, long time ago, Zach. So it wasn't like it is today, but he was a soccer player in England for Crystal Palace that plays in the Premier League. Yeah, so he didn't really do too much soccer with me. He worked a lot. He would come home after dark, but swimming was my sport as a youngster at primary school. And then we moved to Brisbane from Townsville for my dad's job. And I didn't like the new pool, which is surprising because all pools are kind of the same. But I didn't like the new schedule. I didn't like going from training in the morning to my high school in Brisbane and then coming back to the pool after school. It just, I needed something different. So I tried every single sport at school. You do in PE. I encourage everybody to do as much as they can in PE, even if you don't think you like it, to keep going with the sport while you have those PE classes, because that's how I got into volleyball. I was in grade 8 volleyball class and I was good at most sports, and then volleyball was the sport I couldn't do.
Wow.
It was the one where everyone was bad. It hurt my arms. And the reason it hurts your arms is because the volleyball is cheap. So don't think it's anything you're doing. If you're playing volleyball,
wondering that. Whenever I play volleyball at school, I come back after and my hands are red and they're so sore.
See, and that's why people don't want to play, and it's not your fault. It's the cheap volleyball. So the school probably buys a volleyball at $5 or $10, and the volleyball I play with is about $100.
Wow.
So it's a different material and it doesn't hurt. So that was one of the things I was trying to do when I was playing volleyball, was to try and get schools to buy better volleyballs. So the reason I chose volleyball in the end was a notice on the school notice board that said volleyball trip to Canada and America. And I was so pumped. All I wanted to do, and I was your age, Zach, all I wanted to do was go to Disneyland in America and travel the world. So that's what happened. And I fell in love with volleyball. And even though I couldn't play it very well, I was tall. And I was starting to get a little bit better, and the sport was dynamic and fun. And so I started indoor volleyball at high school, and then beach volleyball was announced as a new Olympic sport for the Atlanta Olympics, which was my first Olympics. And I switched over, and because beach is way better. You don't have to put shoes and socks on and knee pads on, and there's only 2 of you, and you don't have a coach telling you what to do all the time. And yeah, so that's how I got into volleyball, and then beach volleyball, and then 5 Olympics later. It was an amazing sport, and traveled the world a lot.
Yeah, and new world record holder.
Absolutely. There is only one. I'm the only female to go to 5 Olympics in beach volleyball, and I'm the only female in Australia to go to 5 Summer Olympic Games.
Wow, that is a lot. That would be 20 years of volleyball.
That's exactly right, at the Olympic level. So then all the volleyball training getting ready for that was a lot too.
Yeah. just quickly going back, you said that you didn't like going from your schedule from Townsville and then you didn't like it in Brisbane. What was your schedule in Townsville?
Well, in Townsville, I guess I went home after the pool. So I went home and had a shower and got in my school uniform and went to school. And then came home and had afternoon tea before I went to the pool. But in Brisbane, because my school wasn't so close, I had to get buses and I had to go to the pool in the morning, and the pool was near school. So I had to shower at the pool. I smelled like chlorine all day because I didn't have my right soap and my right shampoo and conditioner, very important. And so that was why it was different. I felt like my day was very long. Yeah,
definitely. Being Dux of your school is an amazing achievement in itself. Most people would have expected you to go on to university or an academic career. So what made you decide to follow your heart in sport? Did you have any doubts?
Yeah, so I originally enrolled in medicine after I got it was a TE score back then, which was 990. It was the highest you could get, which is an equivalent of the OP1.
Wow.
And is OP still going, Zach, or have they changed it again?
They're changing it to ATAR, which I have no idea and do not understand it, but hopefully I can in the future because that's what I'll be going off.
That's right. So I was the last year ever of the TE score, and then the next year I went through the OP1. So I enrolled in medicine and then realised I didn't really want to do medicine. So I changed it to physiotherapy, and I was at university because my parents wanted me to go to university, and I thought I should go as well because that's what we're taught and that's what we're told. And so I did my first 2 years of physiotherapy, and then I realised that I didn't like it. I didn't want to do it as a profession, probably because if I had nothing else, I would have stuck with it. But the Olympic dream came into my brain and my consciousness. When I put my head down on the pillow at night, I would dream about going to the Olympics. But I was only playing indoor volleyball then, and beach volleyball announced as its Olympic debut. And one of the girls that was playing for beach volleyball at the time, who was a lot older than me, decided that I would make a very good beach volleyball partner. So she asked me to play, and originally I said no. I said, no, I've got to get my degree, which was probably my parents in the back of my head telling me I had to finish my university and got to get my degree. So I said no. And then after about 2 weeks, I said to myself, this is stupid. I wanted to go to the Olympics, and I've just got a phone call saying, do you want to go to the Olympics? And I said no. So I called her back and I said, yeah, let's do it. I had to move to Sydney and live with her because she was older and married and I was only 18.
Oh, wow.
This was in 1994.
So 2 years before your first Olympics?
Yeah, and we trained in Sydney. Ironically, I didn't end up going to the Olympics with her. I changed partners. There were many reasons, and that would be a whole new podcast. But I changed to play with Kerri Pottharst, who I did go to the Olympics with for my first two Olympics, and that's where we won our medals. So, yeah, that's how it happened. I never finished my degree. I said to the University of Queensland I would go back, but then Sydney was announced for the next Olympics in 2000, so there was no way I was going to miss that.
Yeah, especially in Australia, home one.
Exactly.
Yeah. In life, there are always people that either don't like you or feel threatened by you. How do you get past the nasty comments and still have confidence in yourself after people have put you down?
That's a really good question, and it's probably the most important one to deal with, because if you can, it's really easy when you're winning and everyone likes you, for you to do good and feel good, right? And in our sport, we do lots of high fives, and that happens a lot when you win. But can you high five your volleyball partner or your mates at school or your mum and dad when you're not winning is the key. And even yourself, how do you high five yourself? So I taught myself to high five myself. I put one hand in the air, my left hand in the air, and I slap it with my right hand and I go self high five, because especially when you do something wrong, because that's the really important time when you're doing, like I said, when you're doing it right and you're winning, it's easy to do that. But when you make a mistake or someone's calling your names or someone says you can't do it, you have to self high five and almost self hug. You got to build your self-confidence first, and then you can go and get your family and the friends that support you to high five you and hug you as well. But you've got it from the inside. So that's a little trick I use. Clap your hands really hard. Like, I'm going to try and do it now. So you put one hand in the air and you go self high five, and when you make a noise or a trigger like that physically in your body, it's almost like slapping the bad comment or the person away.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's what we call a trigger or an anchor, and it removes it. So it may sound silly, but that small thing is something that helps you move to the next thing. And you keep in your brain, you keep looking forward, never look back.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do. You run. You literally run out of the environment that's not supporting you. And the only time we ever look back is to review performances or to review how could I have done that better.
Yeah.
But you go forward and you run towards your dreams and you run away from the negativity, right?
I believe that one of the most important things in an elite athlete is that you have to have good self-confidence, because if you don't believe in yourself, then you're not really got any chance you're going to win. At least inside your head, you don't.
Absolutely. The only place you ever win is inside your head, right? And if you're not winning in your own head, then there's no way you're ever going to win on the field. So
yeah,
you have to think, feel, and believe you're going to win. And then sometimes you go out and you don't. Like I lost a lot of volleyball matches. I hadn't won. Kerri and I hadn't won a big international event before the Olympics.
Yeah.
Except in our head.
In your head,
right?
Yeah.
And we would get frustrated. You asked about doubts before, I didn't answer it. We would start to doubt ourselves because we were training so hard and we were doing all this work mentally too to strengthen our minds. But we'd go out on the court and we think we'd win in our head, and we'd go out on the court and we'd lose. It's like, and we'd get really frustrated and upset, and our coach would talk us through it, and then we'd go and do it again. But we needed to keep believing in our head so that when we got to the Olympics, we'd be ready. Because if we doubted ourselves, and it does come up, the doubt, and you just have to, again, keep looking forward. I'm winning an Olympic gold medal. And even though one half of your head says, no, you're not, you've never won anything, the other half of your head has to yell louder. Like, we're going to win this thing. We're doing all the work. And you've got to talk to yourself. You've got to, self-talk has to be powerful and positive and uplifting and inspiring.
Yeah, it was when I was in grade 5 and 6, I played cricket for school, and our team wasn't the greatest, to say the least. We didn't win a single game in grade 5, 6 and 7, and we didn't really believe that we could win either. And it wasn't the easiest of times, but in grade 8, we got better. We won a few games, and then in grade 9 so far this year, we've tied first, and we've come back out of nowhere, and, it's great. So we believe in ourselves now, and we're knocking off some of the top teams.
Well, so Zach, I'm going to ask you a question. How do you think that changed if you weren't winning anything? How has it changed for you to be in number 1 now? What did you do different?
Yes, our team has got a few better players from other schools and from non-GPS schools, and it has helped our team. But the improvement from the initial players that were here through grade 5, 6 and 7 has been amazing, and we now believe that we can win, and that's the most important thing.
And part of that is sticking together too, and not blaming each other, especially in a team sport like cricket. You can't blame each other. You can't say, oh, that wasn't very good. Even though you might think it, you've got to go and high-five them and encourage them, because it's the only way to get a positive experience and a positive performance. Yeah,
exactly. Because last year, we had pretty much the exact same players as we did this year, bar 1 or 2, but we weren't a team. We were like a team made up of two or three groups. And then this year we've really gelled as a team, and that's just put us from 2 or 3 wins a year to possibly 6 or 7.
And has the coach helped that?
We've had the same coach in grade 8 and grade 9, and he's really, really good.
Yeah, coaches are very important because they see things obviously outside your head. And their job is to try and influence your decisions and your motivation and all of those things. So sometimes when I'd go to practice pretty flat or low energy or disappointed, the coach was there to make a difference, and my volleyball partner too. So it was really we only had 3 in our team, coach, volleyball, and a volleyball partner and myself, but it's very important.
Yeah, cool. We've dwelled on that question for a while, but that's good. Next question is, obviously winning a gold medal at the Olympic Games doesn't come often. How did it make you feel knowing that you had conquered the world?
Whew, that was an amazing time in my life. And I can't believe it's 19 years ago now, Zach. Like, you're not even 19. Like, your whole life, and add another 5 years, and that was when I won my gold medal. But it feels, when I close my eyes, it feels like it was yesterday. And in my body, I can feel like the sand between my toes. I can feel the crowd at Bondi Beach. I can hear them. It's a big word. If you haven't learnt the word yet, it's very visceral, right? It's in all your organs. It's in your skin.
Yeah.
And it really does feel like I'm on the top of the world still. Even though I didn't win it again,
Yeah.
I still feel like I climbed Mount Everest, I stuck the pole in the sand, and I won the gold medal. And because everything came together, they talk about, you might have heard it, the stars aligning. You know, that you're in the right place at the right time with the right performance. And, you know, clearly your opposition's trying to win too. It's like an AFL grand final premiership that both teams are wanting to win. They've done well all season, but one either has a stronger belief, right, which really at the Olympics, that's all that is.
Yeah, or can hold their nerves.
Can hold their nerves, which is holding your emotional management, right? So if you get a bit, we call it speed wobbles. If you're getting a bit of momentum, you're getting a bit shaky, how do you center and breathe and calm yourself back down to perform at the level that you've got yourself to in training? So the Olympic factor can do a lot of things differently to different people. If you've never been to the Olympics, your first time, people get scared, they get afraid, they start to doubt, they get the speed wobbles. It shows in their performance. So for us to have it all come together at once and to win and stand on top of the podium and sing Advance Australia Fair and get a gold medal around your neck, and family and friends, and, you know, there were 10,000 people singing Advance Australia Fair. That was the coolest moment of my life ever.
Yeah. And then also for the upcoming games, Olympic Games, the other countries perceive you differently as well.
Absolutely. You get at least 3 or 4 points head start because they're like, oh, that's the Olympic gold medalist. But by the end, so probably last 2 Olympics, and then the 3rd Olympics, the new generations come, they don't know who you are. So you got to get back to zero. You got to work hard again. But yeah, it does give you a psychological advantage, yourself and them against you, like the Olympic gold medalist. But yourself, you like lift, you stand taller, you jump higher, because you're proud of everything you've done. It's pretty awesome. Yeah,
but you got to make sure that you don't go into the Olympic Games too overconfident, because that's how you see so many underdogs win.
Absolutely. So we were an underdog at the Sydney Olympics, and we played Brazil, and they probably, on a piece of paper, if you were just watching the paper and the stats, they probably should have won. But we had built our belief so strong, as we've talked about, that they didn't see that coming, right? So they didn't have to work on their belief because they were winning everything. And we just came and trumped them and took over. And so, there's a fine line between being overconfident and really digging in and doing the things, the basic skills well.
Yeah. What's the most memorable moment in your career that most people won't know about?
Well, it really was the first time, when you do something for the first time ever in anything, whether it's cooking, whether it's an exam you do well first time, whether it's meeting a teacher, whether it's getting a girlfriend or a boyfriend, for the first time is pretty special. So when I walked into the Olympic Stadium in Atlanta, my first Olympics, I was 21, and we were being shuffled around a big stadium in droves of people. I was with the Australian team. We were going in first towards the front because it goes in alphabetical order. So A for Australia always helps.
Yeah.
Although in the Sydney Olympics, we were last because you're host country. So so we first time, and we were going around, being pushed along, and then all of a sudden we walked up this ramp into a stadium like the MCG with 100,000 people, and in my Olympic uniform with my other Aussie Olympians, and I saw the camera flashes go off of 100,000 people as they announced Australia coming in. So that is my most memorable. The opening ceremonies I went to after, even Sydney, were not as cool for me because it's like, I know what's coming, right? I've been there. But that very first one was very, very special, very memorable.
Yeah. You seem to be successful at everything you put your mind to. In 5 words or less, what would you say is the most important attribute to becoming successful?
Okay, before I answer my 5 words, you hit the nail on the head there. I'm successful at everything I put my mind to, right? We've talked about it. So if you, whatever you put your mind to and you believe it and you talk about it with yourself in a good, positive frame, you can be successful, right?
Yeah.
That's the secret. There's your first tip. So in 5 words to be the most successful. Okay, I've got to count them on my hand, right? So I'm going to give you 5 individual words.
Okay, yep.
Right, so I'm not going to give you 5 in a sentence because I might run over. So you have to love what you do, right?
Yep.
So you've got to love playing cricket. You've got to love playing volleyball. Then you've got to concentrate.
Yep.
You've got to have that focus and concentration. Really
Yeah,
important. Yep. You've got to have emotional management. So that's 1, emotional management. You have to be able to breathe deeply, control your nerves.
Yep.
You have to have a great team. Now, even if you play an individual sport, you need a team.
Yeah, there's always people in the background. Coaches.
Absolutely.
Staff, managers, your parents, everything.
Yep, friends, sponsors, everything. Yep. So you've got to have a team. And then you have to have a plan. You've got to know the plan because sometimes, Zach, you've just said it, grade 5, 6, 7, you didn't win a match.
Yep.
But you've got to know that the plan is come grade 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you're going to win matches and you've got to stick in it because if you quit too early, you don't get to feel how good does it feel now when you're tied for number 1?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It really
so
is.
if you'd have quit at the end of grade 7 because you'd never won a game and didn't know the plan was that wins are coming, then you wouldn't have this feeling. So you've got to stick in it and you've got to follow the plan.
Yeah, because I think we've won 3 in a row at the moment. And until our first win, we'd lost something like 30 or 31 in a row. And it made a lot of people quit cricket. Let's just say that.
Absolutely. I'm glad you can still smile too because that you're learning all the emotional management skills. You're learning all the resilience. Learning how to lose is a tough skill to know. But if you know how to do that and you never want to do it again, you can fight out of that and become a winner.
You can. Exactly. Cool. Yeah, that's great insight. If there's one book that you've read in your life that you could recommend, what would it be?
My very first book, we talked about firsts. Firsts are great. So my very first book when I was about your age, maybe a little bit 1 year older, I read a book called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by an author called Dan Millman. Now, he's gone on to write probably 20 or 30 books that follow the similar content. He was an American trampolinist and world champion.
Yeah.
And so it's a fable / story of his career as a athlete and a gymnast and a trampolinist and how his coaches helped him. And it's in a story form and it's really good. So The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. It'd be great for you. It's timeless. It's not an old person's book, Zach. It's back for your age group. And then I loved reading successful people's stories. So I'd start with all the athletes that have written the books and because that's what I wanted to be. And then I've started to go into reading business people's books as well. So read as many true life stories as you can. And then anything written by Dan Millman, Millman.
Yeah, there's a tennis player called John Millman.
Exactly. He's cool.
He is. I believe you've also written a book. Can you please tell us about it?
Yeah, I wrote a book. Here's the irony of the story. I wrote the book before I won the Olympic gold medal.
Yep.
To be ready for when I won to put the last chapter in. So it was the story of my going from the bronze medal in Atlanta to the gold medal in Sydney. And my success coach suggested I write it as I go, like journal as I go. So everything from nutrition to emotional management to doubt to fear to training to all of those things, how I managed to do that. The book is called Go Girl, Unleashing the Power Within or something like that. It was written 19 years ago now, Zach. Yes. Unleashing Your Potential or something. So it was from bronze to gold. And ironically, the last chapter was supposed to be winning the gold medal. But what we decided to do was put it as the first chapter because it talks about how he won and then it talks about everything behind that. And even though it's called Go Girl, it is great for boys and it's a really good read. So I think you can get some on Amazon. You might even be able to get them cheap now because they're past the Sydney 2000 time. But it came out early 2001 and I think I've sold about 35,000 copies. So it's been great.
That's a lot, yeah. Natalie, it has been an honour to have you as a guest of my show, and I'd like to thank you for being here today.
Well, the pleasure's all mine, and I'm coming live from Switzerland and the Swiss Alps. I've now taken up snow sports and I'm loving skiing. But Zach, you've been a great interview, and thanks for loving sport as much as I do. Good luck in your cricket, and here's to everyone's sporting dreams. Good luck.
Thank you.
That's all for this interview today. I know that everyone has taken away as much as I have from this sporting legend. Be sure to subscribe to my podcast and YouTube channels for more amazing interviews, and follow my Instagram and Facebook accounts for motivational ideas and to help keep you focused on your sporting dreams. All links people mentioned will be in the description or the show notes. So I can achieve my dream to inspire hundreds of thousands of young sporting stars. Please share this to anyone you believe will benefit from this, and leave a review or comment on my podcast or via social media. Be sure to tune into the next episode at Sporting Dreams. See you then.